Hi, I'm Brent Johnson, and today I'm back in St. Louis, and I'm at the City Museum. Now, this is the first place called a museum that I've brought cameras to, but it's not unusual to find a pipe organ in a museum. The Bush Reisinger Museum at Harvard, the Cleveland Museum of Art, the Legion Hall in San Francisco all have great pipe organs. Some of them are just to provide music, others are there to provide a history, such as the Appleton organ at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. Well, the organ today is here for a bit of both reasons. The main difference is, well, what kind of museum we're talking about. The City Museum was begun by artists Bob and Gail Casserly, and the entire place is made up of bits and pieces of St. Louis history that have otherwise fallen by the wayside. Of course, there are exhibits here. There's lots of art in many different forms, and while it is art museum quiet right now, when the doors open soon, you'll find out that this is a museum like no other. Situated in a 10-story former shoe factory in downtown St. Louis, the City Museum is indeed a playground full of wonderful spaces, both inside and out. The place has caves, tunnels, a circus, a skate park without skateboards, a train for kids, stone castles, the world's biggest pencil. I could go on and on. The curving slides that used to carry shoes from the upper floors to the bottom now carry noisy, boisterous children. There are fire trucks, airplanes, construction equipment, so much I can't even begin to show it all to you. And every inch of this place is a lesson in creative, artistic reuse and recycling. And so, just as well, housed on the third floor of the building is a Wurlitzer pipe organ. Opus 839 was built in 1924 for the Rivoli Theatre in New York City on Broadway. When that building came down, the organ, like many pieces of the City Museum, languished in storage. It was the ingenuity of the St. Louis Theatre Organ Society, along with the support of Bob Casserly, that a new home was found for the instrument. In 2008, the installation of the organ was completed, and another piece of forgotten history found a new life in downtown St. Louis. It's also safe to say that thanks to the creativity of Bob Casserly, this is an organ installation like none other you've ever seen.
The parts of the organ were in a guy's garage for 18 years as a result of a failed attempt to put it somewhere else back in the 80s. And so we approached Casserly and said, would you like to have a pipe organ? We didn't know what we were talking about. So Steve knew Casserly and said, this is what we can do. And Casserly says, okay, go ahead. Well, he liked it because everything was ripped and torn. As you can see, not everything is perfect, and everything else in the museum is the same way. So he said, well, go ahead and put it in. So he gave us a room upstairs that we actually erected it upstairs and brought it back down here. And I guess it had about 15 or 16 ranks at the time, and put it in the chambers and put the bass pipes up here. We started in January of '06 and had it playing in like July or August of '07. We actually had it playing. And it was so loud it went throughout the entire museum. And Casserly came running down and he says, what is that? And he gave me a big hug. He says, you could tell he thought this thing was never going to work, and it did. Casserly's crew, his construction crew, made most of the stuff for us. They made the chambers for us. They got the console in here. They got all those pipes up there for us. And so without them, we'd have never got it. But I had a lot of help from the Organ Society as well. I had a wiring guy who's amazing, and who wired up the whole thing, and the Uniflex and everything. So that's how it got to play. If I'd have wired it, it'd have been spaghetti, and it probably would have never played.
So we've made it up here to the console of the City Museum organ. With me is Joe Baer. You are an organist. You are not the organist here. They don't really have a staff organist, do they?
Right.
So he's one of the many organists who are talented enough to come in and play for the crowds and entertain them on this fantastic Wurlitzer organ. We have 3 manuals, and of course lots of borrowed stops as a theater organ will. And we're all up in 2 chambers, I believe.
Yes.
And I should add, there's a small beep going on. Couldn't turn that off, so they'll be joining us. Normally, this is a very noisy place. We're lucky to be in here when it's really quiet.
That's right.
And so we can just enjoy this instrument. So tell me about this organ. Where would you start in showing it off?
Well, there's lots of fun stuff on this organ. You have your traditional theater organ stops. You have some traditional classical organ stops as well, a little bit of everything. Then lots and lots of noisemakers and fun percussion stuff.
As a good theater organ should.
That's right. We have both tuned and untuned percussion. And if you'd like, we can start with the percussion.
Well, why not? Yeah,
wanna
usually
go with
that's
that?
sort of the last place we go, but let's start
Oh.
with the things that are different on the theater organ.
Okay.
Things most church organs don't have. What do we have up
Sure.
here?
Well, over here on the, well, as you can see on the great manual, the solo manual, not so much on the percussion, or the accompaniment, there's not a lot of percussion, but on the great and the solo, as well as the pedals up here on the back part, lots of different percussion options here. So I guess let's start over here with some of the tuned options. We'll start off with the piano.
All right.
You can hear that motor,
Hear the motor
kicking
start
on
up.
there. And then we have
Right here next to us. Most of the percussion is up here on the same level as the console. So yeah, it's fun to hear that right there next to us.
Yep.
All right, where do we go from there?
Then we have some marimbas and harps as well. So
And that's way over there on the wall somewhere. It's
Way
the
up
only thing
there.
that's not here with us.
yes, those are far away.
Okay.
We have some chimes.
Nice big chimes.
Then we have the xylophone right here next to us, nice and loud. Then we have our traditional Glock and chrysoglot. We'll do Glock first. Chrysoglot.
Yeah, very nice. Nice
Nice
clear
sound.
sound right here where we're sitting. Usually the percussion are kind of tucked in the back of the chamber or something,
Right.
but here they're right out in front, so we get to hear them nice
Loud
and
and
clear.
clear. That's for sure.
All right, then what else do we have?
All right, so moving over to the accompaniment manual, we have the percussion there. Same things as marimba, harp, chrysoglot, but then we also add snare drum, that reiterates, some cymbals, tambourine, castanet, Chinese block.
And all of those non-tuned percussions are all just on the manual. Every key plays
Correct.
whatever the stuff is.
Yes.
What I like about this place, like I said, it's an amazing, weird place, but people can actually see this console and all of the percussions while they're playing around in the City Museum. So it puts all of this stuff on display. And when the organ's playing, you can actually see it all move, which is a great little public relations thing, I think.
Sometimes we really scare some little kids too.
I bet, yes.
If they're walking by these stairs right here and some of that percussion goes off, they get pretty startled. But
Well, and there are a number of very loud things in this organ, too. for
that's what we're
noisemakers.
about to get to. Yeah, check this out. So, typical train whistle there. There we go. Some birds. And then my favorite. Woo! Was that loud enough for you?
We'll see how that did to what that did to the microphones.
Yeah.
But,
You might have to buy a new microphone after that. So,
all handy things for silent movie. Unfortunately, there's not a good movie screen in here to show movies, but
Right.
It's fun to show off this instrument, and people get to hear sounds that they wouldn't have heard on another organ.
exactly right.
All
And
right.
there's a lot more too.
Oh, even-
Down here, the pedal board, we have the wood block there, another cymbal, gong, reiterating, sleigh bells
Well, so, of
comes in handy at Christmas time.
course. Okay, and those are all on toe studs down there that
Right.
you can hit.
And
Same on the
then-
other side.
Crash cymbal. There's a combination,
Okay.
and then we have some thunder. So
Very effective.
that'll rumble the room for sure.
All right.
So
So those are all of our toys and percussions.
yeah.
Let's talk about
pretty much covers
the
that.
actual pipe work we have now.
Sure.
Let's start with the great manual.
Okay.
Just start with our 8-foot stops.
All right. So we have your typical diapason.
Yeah.
Horn diapason. Okay. Moving on to the
The big tibias
Tibia.
next.
all right. This is your classical theater organ sound. I'll play it real briefly with no tremulants on, so you can hear how it sounds. And then with your trims,
Yeah, that's
so
the
nice.
Wurlitzer tibia sound. Yeah.
Yep, sure enough.
All right.
Moving along here, your gamba and gamba celeste. One of my favorites, the clarinet.
That's very nice.
Nice clarinet sound there. Then you have your crummet, buzzy. We have your saxophone. Your oboe. All right, then you get into your strings
Still more
over
strings.
here. Yep.
So we have a separate set of strings there in
Yeah.
addition to the. I want to hear. Just go back and play the gamba in its celeste. Yeah, so much bigger. Your smaller scale. Okay.
Yep.
All right, and then
You have your flute.
yeah,
Okay. Then your vox.
it's the Vox.
A little softer on vox, but
Well, yeah, it's not a big
not-
cutting one.
right, not too pronounced, but it's there. So that covers our 8-foot stops.
Okay.
We get some of those, of course, in your 16s as well. Your tibia and
Let's hear the bottom of those
Okay.
16-foot ranks. This is the tibia. Now, I'm sure that was obvious to people listening that the bottom octave is actually out here with us, which is fun because, everybody here can see them, and they've even put paper on the mouths so you can tell when they're being played, which
Right.
pipes are playing. So
you can almost feel the gust of air down here.
those are big pipes. So, yeah, big
Right.
tibia. All right, and then we have a 16-foot diapason as well.
Yep.
Okay.
But my favorite stop here
Go ahead. What is it?
is your bottom octave tuba.
Ah. Let's hear that up in the mid-range. We didn't hear the tuba. Yeah, nice clear sound.
Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure. Then your 16-foot post horn.
And those stops are available at 8-foot on the grade as well. Okay.
Yep.
Those are our big reeds there.
Yep.
So we also have 16-foot Borden here. Let's hear that. Bottom octave also out here with us.
Yeah, that one has some presence. for
Now that
sure.
goes up to an 8. It must continue on up. It's not the same as the 8-foot flute, is it? Oh, maybe.
I believe it is.
So the Borden goes up to the flute, and that continues on up to
Yeah,
a
up to
12th and a 4-foot and a 2-foot,
Yep,
even all the way to 1 foot.
that's right.
Okay, nice bright, shining 1 foot there. It doesn't actually
So-
go past 2-foot C, but all right.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Well, and then that Borden is in the pedal, as are the tibia and the diapason, and we have one resultant stop as a 32-foot Borden. So let's just hear what that sounds like out here. This is really interesting because usually when you have a resultant stop or even your biggest diapasons and Bordens, they're in the back of the organ where you don't really hear them. You just kind of feel them. These are right here blowing in our faces, so we're really getting the full effect of the sound.
That's right.
Well, this is a really unique installation. That's all I have to say about it, because this place was not designed for an organ. We're in a former factory, and how they've managed to get it all in here is kind of amazing. Al Haker, whom we've seen before in videos, is the technician here who takes care of this instrument, and he's going to give us a little walk around and show us how they got it all in here. But thank you, Joe, for demonstrating. This is fantastic.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Okay, one stop we forgot about. That's the siren. It's a Kimball piano from 1973. The only thing that's really relatively new on this thing. It's a vacuum piano, and the Wix magnets, when they play from the 12 volts here, they break the vacuum, and it causes the secondary inside the piano to play. Okay, it's a Uniflex 2000. We installed it in 2007, and it powers the whole organ, of course. And the relay that they had in here was a Peterson, and it didn't work, so we got rid of it. And so it has a, Uniflex. You can record songs in it. And so we have 750 songs in here. So a lot of organists have played. We've stolen some from other places. Not stolen, but anyway. So the staff people can go in here and select songs. I got a whole list of them. They can select whatever they want and leave, and it shuts off by itself. All right, let's go up this way, I guess. The train is over there. We're going to go this way though. This is the regulator, and it's only for the marimba harp. That's all this does. But we needed to have it separate, so that's the air supply for it. So this is the main blower. It has it's 7.5 horsepower motor, and it has 2 outlets. It has a lower pressure, which is about 15 inches, and then the high one has like 22. So we have two separate pressures in the chamber. I thought before we go in the chamber, I was going to show you something that we put a demo out here for the pipes. So it has a vacuum cleaner motor in it. So, and Wix magnets that you can see inside. So if you press this, it turns on the blower. A little warm in here because the thing has been running for a while. This is something unique we came up with. This is the plenum that takes the air from the main blower and separates it. And then this is the regulator for the everything that's in here except for the tibia. So the tibia regulators down there, so we didn't have room for them, so we stacked them up. And on this chest, this is the tuba horn from D up, and then behind there, that's the 16-foot tuba, ophiclide, whatever you want to call it. And behind that, if you can, I don't know if you can get around back in there or not to see that, that's the 8-foot tibia. So this is the tuba horn, and behind that is the saxophone, brass saxophone. Then the tibia is behind that. And then behind that is let's see, that's the orchestral oboe. And then behind that is the crummet. We had a choice of using a crummet or a canura. And Stan Can says, if you have a crummet, use that instead of the canura because it's more melodic. He says, it's still a buzzer, but he says it's more melodic. So over here, so in the back, we have the brass trumpet, that's the trumpet. And then the next thing is the post horn, and that's homemade. It was actually an oboe, a church oboe, and yours truly, that's why it looks like crap. I actually put it together, and I got it to work, put new reeds and shallots and everything in it, and it actually works, it kinda. And this is the horn diapason of unknown, I don't know where this came from, I have no idea. So, it has 18 ranks, and although 8 of them are not Wurlitzers, almost all the chests and everything, the console is all Wurlitzer, but there's about 8 ranks that are not Wurlitzers. So this is one of them. And of course, the post horn is homemade, so that's not one of them. And then the crummet is a molar, actually. Okay, and this is the regulator for the post horn and the tuba on separate pressure. So these are on 15 inches, and the rest of everything in here is on 10. That's the tremulant for the tibia, and that's the tremulant for the tuba horn. It has to have a separate, because it's a separate pressure, it has to be separate. And this is the tremulant for everything else. Don't you love these doors? These are actually fire doors, and I told you the staff people put this together, and they said, well, yeah, we got these, Al, these are going to be perfect, and they were. There's no, the sound in here, that's why it's so loud. It's either concrete or metal or glass. Or actually the first two are the VDO and Celeste, and those are molars as well. And then next are that's the clarinet. And this is the gamba. The gamba's in the back, and then this is the gamba Celeste in front. I think this is about the only chest in the organ that's not Wurlitzer. Actually, Marlon Mackley made it. Underneath this is the main regulator for everything in here, except for the Vox. So everything else comes off of here, even the stuff over on that chest. So this is Vox. And then behind us here, this is the Vox right in front. And then the flute and the solitional. Those are Wurlitzers. And that's the diapason, the open diapason. And it's not Wurlitzer either. It's a Kilgan, actually. And we opened it up, and it really gets out. We had a 15-inch diaphonic diapason, but it was too much. It overpowered the organ. I knew it would. So this was in the junk, and I said, we can use this. And so we opened up the toes and fiddled with the mouth a little bit and got it to play really well. This is the 8-foot string, the VDO string, or the Celeste doesn't go down to 8 foot, so this is the 8 foot, and this is the relay output. It's kind of unique because you can unplug the connections here. So if you don't, when I tune these, I can tune them myself. I unplug this, and I got a little thing I can plug in and actually tune them up here. It's pretty cool. And then we got more in the back, not much, but a little. Those are the 8-foot gambas, and they're buried too. And this is the 8-foot flute. You can't, they play really well up here, but you can't hear them outside. And this is the diaphone, and it's the same thing. It's buried. It just doesn't get out. And I tried to figure out a solution if we could put another hole in the wall and all that, and none of it made any sense. So. These shutters are actually not from this. They were in the junk, but they're from the Majestic Theater, which is what the lobby organ is at the Fox. They were in our junk in this guy's garage. The guy's a saint for storing it all that time. Anyway, it was a Hall 16-foot open wood. And a lot of the stuff we have here came from a guy by the name of Gus Brummer, who was the Moeller representative here in town. I mean, his name is around town. He's long since passed away. But somehow we ended up with this in our junk. And so what are we going to do with those? And so I brought them down here, and the C and the C sharp were too big. We couldn't get them upstairs in the elevator. It's another story. Anyway, Castley says, well, I'll take them. And he says, I'll make benches out of them. I said, okay, it's fine with me. You know, we didn't have any need for them. So Castley says, no, I think I can use them. So he cut them in half, as you can see, as every other pipe has a mouth, and had his crew bolt them to the wall and made that round thing. That's how they got here. So those are actually Hall from an organ. We even know where the organ came from Chicago. So, and then up above it are some facade pipes we had laying around. And then up above that are some more pipes that they weren't complete octaves, and so they were useless to me. So they installed those up there too to make more of a decoration for us. So Castley was an artist, you know, and he knew what he was doing, and he made it look really good.
So I hope you've enjoyed a tour of the Wurlitzer organ at the City Museum in St. Louis. If you're ever here in town, the City Museum is a must-see. And if you're interested in hearing the organ, ask the staff. If there's not an organist handy, they usually can turn on the digital player for you. There is an admission fee to enter the City Museum, and there's information about that on their website, which is listed in the description below. Bob Castley died in 2011, and the City Museum was sold to a company that manages theme parks and water parks. That has not dampened the spirit of creativity and artistry that continues to flourish here at this wonderful, ever-changing place. Out of everywhere we've been with microphones, I can't think of anywhere where the sound of the pipe organ has the opportunity to reach as many people as here at the City Museum. My thanks to Joe Bayer, Al Haker, and to Katie Enrique of the City Museum for all their help in making this video possible. If you've enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up down below. And please, next time you're in St. Louis, stop in and visit the City Museum. I'm Brent Johnson. Thanks for watching.